the dimension of stillness beyond thinking, out of which all thinking arises.
Okay.
Now, when you leave here,
I'm just going to test
many
this out.
of you,
and if this doesn't
if
work,
not most of you,
the only other option is to try it again
are going
on
back into more
my iPad,
doing again.
which maybe is the easier way to do it. But anyway, let's just see whether this is working
will be
and anybody's there.
not
so hi,
to
Michelle.
lose
Hi, Sweet Serenity.
the rootedness.
Can you hear me?
In that
Does
deeper
it sound any
dimension
better than it did?
while you are
Please
engaged
say yes. Hello, Amanda.
in whatever you
Hello,
do.
who is that? Somebody's just said. You could very well
And
ask
the
that.
world
You have another video in the background.
will do all it
I hear a man
can
talking in the
to
background.
challenge you,
I'm hearing Eckhart
to
Tolle.
pull you out of
Really?
that
What the hell is
rootedness.
going on here? Oh,
And
yes.
it will
Okay.
tell you,
Right.
not
I've
in
got
so many
Eckhart on. I did have Eckhart on, guys. Well, he's good, isn't he? Maybe he just wanted to pop in. Right. Eckhart should have now been switched off. Can you hear me? Eckhart shouldn't be there. Sounds fine now. Yeah, I know you're telling me you can hear Eckhart Tolle. I think that's just because there's a time delay on here. It should just be me, hopefully soon. Maybe that's a sign from Metatron that one day I might do something with Eckhart Tolle. He's brilliant. I actually found one of his old books in my mum's bag of stuff that she was going to get rid of. Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth. Anyway, yeah, he's gone, okay. Can you hear me? You can see me. Thumbs up. Brilliant. Okay. Oh my God. You see, this is it with Metatron. He never makes it that straightforward. How many times do I say to you that he pushes us out of our comfort zone and you've just got to push through it? Anyway, hello everybody again. I hope I haven't lost too many. We've got 600 now, so I think people are finding me again. I will just wait for a few people. I'll just have a little drink with Freddie. And then I'm going to tell you about what we're going to be doing today. Sounds good now. Okay. I've no idea why it didn't work before. Right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Happy Earth Day. Do you know that today is actually the 50th anniversary of Earth Day starting? I didn't. And do you know which country founded Earth Day? Anybody know? USA. And I've done my homework here. Apparently, Earth Day was founded after the oil spill in Santa Barbara, California in 1969. And it led to the passing of 3 really important acts for the environment. The Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act. So I never knew that. So yes, it's been going for 50 years. And when I said I was going to be doing this live stream, I had no idea that actually today was Earth Day. So I'm really glad that we can honour the Earth today. Have you all been, some of you may have done some rituals or ceremonies already. I was just saying I've had quite a quiet day actually, so I haven't done much. But after this, and we'll be going for at least an hour, maybe longer. We'll see how much you all want to chat. But I'm going to go for a walk down to the sea and just honour the element of water and the earth and the air, and work fire in somewhere as well. Anyway, yeah, 50 years ago, Earth Day. I was watching the television this morning and they had Brian Cox on. Brian Cox is a very good looking UK scientist, and he's also brilliant, really top of his game. And he was saying, and it was something that I don't think we've really talked about much, but these changes that have come in on the back of the virus, however challenging they are economically, and they really are challenging, we know that, but we know that the environment is being given a chance to just breathe, don't we? And what Brian was saying was how quick that transformation has happened. And, you know, literally within a month is what we're talking about for the air quality to be improving around our world and the waters to be clearing as well. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? So yeah, Brian was on. what I want to do is I'm going to pull some cards for Earth Day from some of the Earth Oracle decks that I've got. And I also wanted to weave in a bit of dragon energy, those of you that love the dragons, because tomorrow is St. George's Day here in the UK, where St. George slayed the dragon. So, you know, we need to honour the dragons as well. I've got my rather beautiful dragon here. He actually came from China, this dragon. I bought him online a few months ago, and I think he might be a Druzy, because can you see within his skull, he's got the Druzy crystals there? Maybe it's agate, something like that, but he's quite ferocious. So we're going to be tuning into the dragons. We're going to be pulling some cards for Earth Day. Yeah, there's a lot of you chatting. So someone says the chat is making me dizzy. It's going really fast, but I think it's just because there's so many people in the chat room. There's 1,000 of you watching, so thank you. I also want to pull some cards for Julian Assange. I want to talk about the 15th of April and the numerology of that. I've got some more information to talk about in terms of the Titanic. So those of you that have watched my last video, there's some stuff on William Stead in particular coming through. Oh, I don't know, there's just so much going on. I had a weekend last Saturday. I think the video went live on Friday, and there was all this information just coming in constantly, you know, hour by hour. And I thought, what on earth am I going to do with all this? Because I wanted to share it all with you, and hence this live basically. So I'm assuming most people have probably watched the video, the SOS Titanic one. Apologies that I got Leonard Nimoy, his name wrong. I'm a little bit I've never been classed as dyslexic, but actually in terms of my language, I do get names and words wrong a lot of the time. And those of you that follow me have probably noticed that little trait. So apologies to Leonard. Should we pull some cards then for Earth Day? It's very odd to be sitting here and I can just hear my voice, but then I've got all of you here and I can see your writing, but I can't hear your voices. We'll all have to get together, won't we, when all this is over, and have a big, I don't know, have a big gathering somewhere, a big Metatron gathering. Right, let's pull some cards then. Let's just settle down, and when I mean settle down into the energy of today. So Earth Day 2020, 22nd of the 4th, 2020. Right, I'm using the Sacred Earth Oracle deck by Tony Carmine Salerno. Let's see what we get, shall we? Right. Let's have 3 cards. Expectation. I'll put the cards back up in a minute. Potential. I know where this is going. And fragments. And then on the bottom of the deck, we've also got consistency. So I'm going to run through these one by one. I was hearing a song. You know me and my songs. Metatron gave me a song before I came on. And I'm not even going to attempt to try and sing this one because it's Bjork. It's Oh So Quiet. I was standing in my garden trying to tune into the vibration of Mother Earth and what she wanted to say to us. And I got this big sense of the fact that she's just been given this breathing space that we've talked about on my channel many times. And this hush and this silence as we all are retreating and pausing and reflecting. But then if you know the song by Bjork, it's sort of, I think the words are something like, it's all so quiet, hush, hush, quiet. And then it's like, it all just suddenly gets very, very noisy again. And then it goes quiet. And I keep picking up like this undulating wave. It's like wave after wave. And I'm hoping that isn't waves of the virus that come back, but you know, they might do. And that's what a lot of the experts are saying. But in terms of Mother Earth, it's as though she's enjoying this pause that she's in, this chance to refresh herself. But I'm slightly nervous about that Bjork song because it does, you know the song, it goes bonkers, doesn't it? It goes really crazy, really loud, really riotous. And I think there's a message there in terms of we don't want to go back to our old ways. We want to create a new normal for Mother Earth. And this is what we've really got here because we've got a sense of expectation and we've got potential. Okay, expectation and potential. So some of you around the world are having lockdown lifted a little bit, or certainly it's on the horizon. Here in the UK, that isn't really visible yet, but I know it's being talked about in certain parts of America, isn't it? And other parts of the world as well. I don't know if we've got anybody here from Spain or Italy. You could maybe give us an update in terms of what's going on in your part of the world. But yeah, there's this expectation to sort of want to get back to some sort of normality. But I really feel the message coming through very strongly is that we have to have learnt from what this experience is teaching us in terms of the earth, and the fact that she needs to be allowed to breathe other than just during a time of crisis when we are forced to change our behaviour. And that's why we've got this card of consistency. It's as though the card of consistency has got the sun there, which is illuminating this truth. The card of fragments to me is really talking about the fact that our energy is very fragmented at the moment, and we're in a sort of confused position collectively in terms of where we want to be going in terms of our behaviors. What will the new normal look like? What will we be able to do? What will we not be able to do? And how much can Mother Earth tolerate, basically? So I think that's what those cards are saying. Those of you that have watched my videos as well, there was one where I talked about Mother Earth missing us, and I think this very much looks like Gaia standing there with a sense of expectation. It's almost like for the children to come back out and play in the playground, and the playground is Mother Earth. But yet there's a slight nervousness with her as well in terms of, are they going to go back to their old ways? That's what I'm sort of picking up from these cards. I don't know what other people are saying. Spain is allowing children out from next week. More people able to work from this week. America is on a slow opening. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Kitty Gem, we need to piece all the pieces of the puzzle back together again, like the golden glue from the Japanese vase. Yeah, I love that. That's this. Have I got it here? Yeah, let me just get this. This is my pot that a friend of mine made, Jane Tricker, and it's the Japanese art of putting something broken back together again, but using gold. They use gold to seal in the cracks and mend what is broken. So what gets created is actually something that was almost more beautiful than it was before. And of course, gold as a colour energy stands for wisdom. Maybe I should light this. This is actually called these bowls, you put a candle in them and they reflect the light. So should we do that for Mother Earth? Let's just light a candle together for Mother Earth. And that when we go back to the new, whatever life is going to be like after this experience, that we can create alchemy. Gold is about alchemy, turning something leaden into gold. There we go. Got my bowl lit. I'm going to put that up there for Mother Earth. Yeah. What else do I want to say about Earth? With regard to the Earth, we also have to mention the animals, don't we? We have to mention the animals. And with regard to the virus, that first video I made about 2.5 months ago now, Archangel Metatron was talking about the potential for China in particular to start to look at caring for animals a little bit more, but really all of us to be caring for animals more. And we talked about the wet markets, didn't we? Which I know is a very difficult thing to even think about, let alone look at, but it is a reality in that part of the world. And I've noticed in the space of the last couple of days, there's a couple of very high profile people coming out and sort of campaigning against these wet markets continuing. And if you don't know what a wet market is, it's where basically they have live animals that they're selling and then they kill. And the two people that caught my eye, there might be more that are doing this. Paul McCartney has come out, and I think that's very much, I mean, he is a great animal lover, but it's also very much Linda McCartney's influence as well, I feel, coming through him, as well as his voice. It's like a double voice, Linda and Paul McCartney campaigning against this. And actually, I'm not going to be too political in this reading because I know we've all got our different political views. But I did notice that Carrie Symonds has also come out against the wet markets and is speaking up against them. And those of you that aren't in the UK, Carrie Symonds is the wife-to-be of Boris Johnson, and also she's about to have a baby in a couple of weeks as well. So again, when I first read on Boris, oh, I don't know, a year or so ago, one of the things that came through was environmental stroke animal rights potential. And I'm going to say potential because potential doesn't mean that it necessarily gets done, but it shows that there are seeds there within his energy in terms of campaigning for animals and also the environment. Now, we know he's had this sort of watershed moment where he nearly died. And I just think it's really interesting that Carrie Symonds has come out within the last 24 hours and she's also campaigning against these wet markets as well. So I think that's all for the good. I think anybody that's campaigning and actually giving their voice to this is to be applauded, really, because we don't want to go back to the old ways. It's as though it's been highlighted for a reason, and it's been highlighted more than once now with these wet markets that diseases can be generated off the back of them, plus the fact it's just totally and utterly barbaric. So for China as well, let's just hold out the hope that new stringent laws can come in to get rid of these for good, you know, that they're a stain on Mother Earth. And if Mother Earth is there waiting for us to come back to her, okay, with expectation, she's also, you know, we've got, I think these are supposed to be bison in the background, but it's the energy of animals, basically, you know, the animals also need to be respected and cared for in this new earth that we are trying to create. We're not just trying to create it for us, we're trying to create it for the animals too, and every living thing upon this planet. So yeah, I think that's what that card is. He's sort of with me there. Paul McCartney was in my dream the other night, but I didn't know why. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we should just give up a little prayer on Earth Day, actually, as someone's just said here, that let's just ask, you know, for this prayer to be taken up to God, that the abuse of animals in these wet markets just stops, and that it can go as far as it can. And what I mean by that is that in a perfect world, we would just stop the abuse of everything. We would live in a state of peace and harmony with every living thing. But equally, we have to be realistic in terms of where people are and where the collective consciousness is, especially in different countries. So we want to really push the envelope. We really want to create as much good as we can on the back of this. So please hear our prayer, Archangel Sandalphon, and take that up to God. You see, Archangel Sandalphon, for me, this is just something I have observed over the years. I've always associated Archangel Sandalphon with number 22. And there's nearly 2,200 of you now in the chat room, which I find quite funny as well as I'm talking about 22. Yeah, Sandalphon. How many times have I talked about Metatron and number 11? Okay, number 11, the gateway, the wake-up call, illumination, etc. Potential. 22, I don't know, I've just always felt that 22 links with Sandalphon's energy. And of course, 2 and 2 make 4. And Sandalphon is an archangel that governs the Earth Star chakra, which is underneath our feet. So he's very linked into the energy of the Earth. And the whole energy of as above, so below with Metatron and Sandalphon is very important. So I just wanted to maybe honour Sandalphon today as well. So should we just see if there's a little message that wants to come through from Archangel Sandalphon? And I'm just going to use one of the sprays. And many of you tell me that when I spray these sprays that you can sometimes smell them. And you know, it's like, is that possible? And yes, it is possible. It is possible, because effectively it's an energy wave that is coming to you via the screen, as it were. Doesn't mean if you don't smell them that you're not getting the energy hit. You are. It just depends on which one of your senses is more developed, because all of us have different senses that are more heightened, whether it's smell, whether it's our third eye, whether it's telepathy, whether it's clairaudience, whether it's clairsentience, which is feeling. We all have the ability to sense the angels in a way that is right for us. So don't worry if you can't smell anything, but if you can, great. Right, without further ado then, bronze. Let's bring Sandalphon in. I'm just going to take my glasses off, so let's spray them with oil. I love Sandalphon's energy because he's so gentle and kind. There's a kindness, a gentleness. Okay, Archangel Sandalphon, World Earth Day 2020. He's saying you never expected it to be like this, did you? You never expected it to be like this, but yet it is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And so in the 50th year, the 50th commemoration, 5 is linked into change. Earth Day was always going to be a very different experience in 2020. And for many people, there is a sense of frustration that they're not able to maybe be as in touch with the earth as they would like to be. And I'm being shown people who are in, you know, high-rise flats, in a lockdown type situation without a garden. There are some parks in central London that certainly were closed to the public over the last couple of weeks. I think they might have reversed that decision. There are beaches that have been closed, although I know they're reopening them in certain parts of Florida, I think. But what Sandalphon's showing me is that there are people who are feeling alienated from Mother Earth and her elements at this time. But she's saying, we will soon be back together again, is the message that's coming through from Gaia via Sandalphon. We shall soon be back together again. There's a message coming through from Sandalphon which is linked into the fact that often we view Earth as something that is separate to us. It's as though we go out there to experience Earth. I said it when I was starting this recording. I'm going to go to the beach later so I can connect into the earth. But yet really that's an illusion, isn't it? Because the earth represents the material world. It's where we physically are at any one moment. So the fact that I'm sitting here on this chair right now in my house, I'm still connected to Gaia. Of course I am, because I'm breathing the air that is in my room. The light is coming through my window. Okay, it's reflected. I can see the tree. I'm sitting in front of a wooden desk, you know. I have got water just beside me that I can now drink if I wish to. I have got fire burning and a candle, you know, here. There seems to be something about we need to lose the separation, that somehow to be grounded or be earthed is something that we have to do, which is sort of separate from just sort of sitting here. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. I think I'm guilty of doing that sometimes. I think for myself to be able to ground and be at one with the earth, I've got to be out there. And yes, in an ideal world, of course, that is brilliant and that's what we want to do. But in times where many of us are in lockdown and we're not able to get out there, it's as though Mother Earth is saying, I can come to you. I can come to you. It's just a matter of changing the way that you're viewing it. You know, breathe in the air, I'm with you. Feel the earth underneath your feet, I am with you. Light a fire, I am with you. Feel the house that you're in right now, the bricks, the mortar, I am with you. So, you know, hear the wind or feel the sunshine coming in, I am with you. It's very much about integrating earth, I think, now, and realizing that the human body is a representation of earth. So Earth Day, what Sandalphon is saying, sorry, Metatron always tries and barges in. What Sandalphon is saying is Earth Day should also be a celebration of the physical vessel that we have, which is our human body, which is an expression of our incarnation here on Earth. And if we start to see the human body and our vessel as part of Earth, well, we might not then abuse Mother Earth as much because we won't be abusing our own body. See what I'm trying to say? Seems to be something coming through with regard to that. So I'm being shown the whales, who are the record keepers, and I'm being told that the whales are recording these days. They are recording these days, and I don't quite know what the correct term is, but I'm being shown the vibrations underneath the sea, sonar waves, would it be, which scientists measure based on, I guess, the health of the ocean, the depth of the ocean. There's something happening with the ocean, which is very different to what it normally is. And what I'm being shown is we know that when we look up at the sky, we haven't got the aeroplanes that are zooming left, right, and centre, which causes disturbances in the air, which causes disturbances in pollution. But I'm now being taken down into the ocean, and it's as though if you could only see the cleanup that is happening deep on the ocean bed. And I'm being taken to the coral reefs. I'm being taken to the coral reefs. Australia energy, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So it's just like the wonder of the whales recording this amazing. I'm actually hearing the word miracle that's happening right now for Mother Earth. And it's almost as though she wants to come in and also say thank you for this opportunity for all of us to heal. And by all of us, she's talking about the elements. Now I'm going to pull a dragon card. California had a 3.8 earthquake at 3 a.m. today. Okay. Always hug trees. Yeah. Right. Conscious preconception. I had a vision yesterday that the whales were happy because there was no more sonar disturbing them and they were at peace. Wow. And I had just tuned into this. Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, you're confirming what I was just picking up. Yeah, that's probably exactly what I was seeing. Yes, of course, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because the whales, they get disrupted, don't they, by the sonar booms, or I'm not sure if it's the right terminology that I'm using. Of the boats and all the pollution in the sea, and that's why they breach. They come up the River Thames, for example in London, and they breach because they get confused. They don't know that they get confused. It's like their internal mapping goes awry. So the whales too are being given a chance to not just heal, but if you think about the whales, they're very linked into the Akashic records. They're the record keepers. So what they're showing me is it's literally as though they're being given a chance to do the filing, okay? And that's putting it very flippantly and a bit silly, but that's what I'm being shown. It's like they hold the library, the record of mankind and the history upon our planet, including that which is in the future to come as well. And they're being given a chance because they're feeling clearer within themselves to be able to have a good sort through in terms of what needs keeping, what needs discarding, what is useful from the past that we might have forgotten, and what is new information that needs to come in for this new earth that we're birthing. I'm hearing, what are they ready for? And by what are they ready for, they mean us. So humankind. It's as though the whales are going through the library within themselves to discover what is it that humankind is now ready to hear. And they're being greatly helped by the cleanup in the ocean as well. Yeah, you see, because there's no cruise ships, isn't there? Sonic booms, naval ships, cruise ships, giving the chance for the sea to heal. Yeah. Yeah. The Ganges is clearer than before. Wow, okay. There were some beautiful pictures on the news this morning, well, with Brian Cox, the bit about Earth Day, and it showed, well, the pictures of the Himalayas, which we know are beautifully clean and clear. Where else were they showing? Oh, Venice. Venice just looks absolutely transformed. There was somewhere else. Oh, Delhi. It was Delhi. They showed a picture of Delhi, and the air was just, you could see it. You could just see that the air quality was better. So it's quite extraordinary what's happening. It's not taking away from the suffering that's also going on, but we have to also appreciate the benefit that's coming from this time that we are being forced into lockdown. Right, let's pull a dragon card then. Let's see what the dragons have to say. The dragon deck that I've got was given to me, and it's by Kathleen Filippo, the Dragon Oracle. I think she might be a Dutch lady. So this is the deck that I'm using. Let's see what we get, shall we? Dip my camera down a bit. Oops. No, maybe I won't do that. Okay. One dragon energy. Can you read that? Acknowledge your emotions. Accept your emotions as they come and go. They bring you an important message, and that's like a water dragon. So we were just talking about the whales, and now we've got the water dragon. A sea dragon. Looks like a sea dragon. Who's feeling emotional today? Is anybody feeling particularly emotional? Just see what you're saying. No, somebody says no. Well, that's good. I'm a Cancerian, so I'm always emotional. I'm always up and down. Just trying to tune into the emotional energy today. I'm getting the word vulnerability. Vulnerability, rawness, openness. You know, if we've watched all those old films and they go to the bottom of the sea and you see the old sea chest that opens up, it's as though there's this beautiful sea chest opening up and we're discovering something very new about ourselves at this time. Oh yeah, people are saying they are emotional. Okay, definitely. Yeah, chat's gone crazy now. I mean, emotional doesn't have to be a bad thing, does it? But it just means that we need to honour how we are feeling, whatever that is. I noticed yesterday, one of my friends on Facebook actually was saying that yesterday was the first day that they'd found the lockdown a little bit difficult, and I think that's probably quite accurate as well. So I don't know if it's that that's kicking in. Overwhelmed, somebody says. Overwhelmed. Okay. When is the next moon phase? I've lost track with this. Let's pull some cards to try and see what's going on with our emotions. Let's go to the Metatron deck for this. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Already cried twice today, Karen. Okay. Honouring and respecting our emotions. Yes, because for so many eons we've suppressed our emotions, haven't we? And this awakening that we're all going through, it is raw, it is real, it is about vulnerability, it is just about feeling all of it and not being able to run away from it and not really wanting to anymore either, but also realizing, and it's really important to realize, that you can be very up one moment or very down, but it seems to be, it's about balance. You know, I was saying about these undulating waves that I'm feeling, and I do think this links into the virus as well. To be honest, the message I get with regard to the virus is that it will come back in waves until we have learnt the lesson that we are trying to be taught. And the lesson, for me, I feel the lesson, if you wanted to try and sum it up in one word, would be balance. Balance. So if at a collective level, balance is the real thing that we're being asked to work on and try and get a handle on, then how can we get to that point unless we really honour all of our emotions and start to be able to understand them, process them and integrate them and not run away from them? More than anything, not run away from them. You know, there's no shame in shedding a tear. there's no shame in having a great big belly laugh as well, you know. Right, let's just have a pull a card from this Metatron deck. So Metatron, you can feel how people are feeling. What is the guidance? I knew that card was going to come up. Right, we've got this one again. How many times do we see this card when I do the reads? This is detached from drama. Now, I think this is the fact that all of us are getting very affected. Of course we are. We're sensitive people, we're empaths, by just the news that is overwhelming out there. And to be perfectly frank, is, you know, challenging. Let's be honest. It's a challenging time in our history because so much is changing. So this card, detached from drama, that is not saying ignore what is going on and put your head in the sand and bury it like an ostrich. That's not the Metatron energy at all. But it's saying be aware, be informed, but detach from going in too deep. So, you know, I've said this many times, the way I handle the world and the news and what's going on is I will dip into the news. And I've said before, I think it's good to have a variety of different news sources. Don't just dip into one newspaper. Don't just dip into one news channel. Look at different ones from time to time. But just do it once a day, you know, or twice a day if you want to. But once a day is enough, to be honest. And get the headlines, you know. And well, a little bit more than the headlines. There's nothing wrong with being informed, but don't get so into it that it does this. I mean, look at this. This woman here is sitting there, and it's a beautiful sunny day, but she can't see it. She can't see it. She's just completely and utterly absorbed in the trauma, the distress, the negativity, the poison, the toxicness. And, you know, that isn't helpful, is it? Mr. Rogers taught us to be okay with our emotions. Do you know, Beth, Mr. Rogers, I had never heard of Mr. Rogers, I have to confess. I think he's obviously an American icon. So did he? Okay. So did he have any techniques, or what did he say? I'd be quite interested what his advice would be there. It really comes back down to habit though, isn't it? Make positive habits. I don't know about you, but I'm personally, with this lockdown, I'm really trying to instill some very positive habits for myself. And I'm actually doing relatively well. I'm eating well. I'm going out for a walk every day, which is unheard of for me. And I am trying to get the balance. So we need to be developing some good habits to take us into this new earth. Detach from drama. Thank you to the people that are making donations. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Oh, sorry. Right. New moon tomorrow in Taurus. Okay. Together with Uranus, planet of change and higher wisdom. Much love to all. Okay. So, right. Taurus. Right. Should we pull a card for the new, is it new moon or full moon? I know I should know all this stuff, but can't keep up with it all. Right. What card should we pull for the moon in Taurus? Let's go for this deck. I've got so many decks here. One of these days I'm going to do a video and I'm just going to take you through all the decks that I've got. Mr. Rogers had gentle teachings on everything through love and respecting one another. Okay. Assunta. So you're dealing with patients. I'm sure it's very, very difficult for anybody in a frontline job at the moment and having to see the trauma. My heart goes out to you, sending you love. Mr. Rogers said, you make this day a special day just by being you. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Channel Mr. Rogers. He was great at giving information to children. Okay. I will put him on the list. To be honest, he wasn't on the list because I didn't know anything about him, but yeah, I will. I'll add him to the list. The other person that I'm going to try and channel by the end of this week, I'm not going to do it here now, is Prince, because the anniversary of his death 4 years ago, I think it might even be today. Mr. Rogers said, always look for the helpers. Thank you, Catherine Carlson. Right, okay. Doing a lot of yoga, meditation, and pranayama. I don't know what that is. Eating well. Yeah. Flamenco. Somebody said flamenco. Brilliant. Thank you, Doreen. Right, okay, let's pull a card for this moon in Taurus. Let's just get my little diary out to see what is actually happening tomorrow then. Are you enjoying the meteoroid showers that are going on at the moment? Apparently it's very clear because the skies are so clear. You're actually able to see them much better. Must admit, I haven't looked yet, but I might try and look tonight. Right, so what the hell is the date? The date's the 22nd. Okay, new moon in Taurus tomorrow on the 23rd. The Lyriads meteor shower peak tonight on the 22nd, everybody. Thank you, Donna. Hello, Donna. Right, so the Lyriads meteor shower peak tonight. So get out tonight if you can. Look up at the skies. Look for those shooting stars. Look for the magic, okay? But also make a wish. I can't remember what channeling it was. It was probably Ashtar who was talking about it's a way to connect to our galactic soul family when we look up to the sky like that as well, the skyline. And I tell you what, you've never had such a opportunity as now, because the skies are so clear. There's so little pollution up there. Right, okay, new moon in Taurus. What is this? New moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. I must just say, I'm getting, because it's Taurus and it's the bull, there's also a prayer going up, please, to end the bullfighting in Spain. And I'm just going to say that that is needed as well. Okay. Don't wish to offend any Spaniards. I know it's a cultural tradition, but needs to stop is what I'm hearing. Okay. Because this bull that I'm feeling here for this new moon in Taurus is, I don't know how to express it. I wanted to say the word fresh. What I mean by this is it's like it's a, oh, okay. You know how as human beings we're upgrading and our light bodies are upgrading, and hopefully we're evolving into better specimens of what it is to be human. Well, so too are the animals. So this energy of the bull tomorrow has got a whole different vibration from a normal bull. It's like a light body bull. It is. Because bulls are very sort of, you know, they are, aren't they? They're earthy, and they make a noise when they move, and they're heavy, and they're, you know, but this one I'm picking up, this is like, this is light. God knows what that means, but anyway, new moon in Taurus. The 9 of fire. Well, it sort of makes sense what I was just saying. I was talking about the light body. And here we've got a card, the 9 of fire, which links into the light body for human beings. So it feels as though tomorrow is quite an important day then to be downloading light. I think we need to be getting out tonight in this meteor shower if we can. Even if you can just spend 5 minutes looking up to the sky, I think it'd be really, really important. There's a fresh new energy coming in with this new moon. I mean, I know that's true for any new moon because they're always about new beginnings, but there's something about this that's just very, very different. Very different. 9 of fire. You see, on the bottom of the deck is the 6 of earth. And this is the card where we give to others. I love the representation of this. This is the Gaian Tarot. Can you see that card okay? And this lady in the marketplace, she's giving to those that need it. And I love it's got sunflowers, okay? Nod to happiness and joy. What else is in this marketplace? Carrots. I mean, it's basically, it's to do with just fresh fruit, vegetables. There's something about I guess Taurus is linked into the physical body, isn't it? So there seems to be something tomorrow whereby we're being given a real opportunity to not just upgrade our own light body, but to make some really positive, new, fresh habits with regard to how we look after this body that we've got. So what I was talking about earlier in terms of if we're going to stop abusing the earth, we all do it to a degree. We also have to learn to stop abusing our own body. The two are completely and utterly linked like that, is what I'm seeing. So this to me is to do with nutrition and food and looking after ourselves well, and colours. Look at that beautiful colour. Thank you, Fatima. Right, now look, I've got a few things I want to talk about today, so I'm just going to move on a little bit. We might come back to some cards in a moment, but I have to tell you some of these things that I've been discovering over the last couple of days. Oh, before we move off the earth though, something rather strange happened. Again, something rather strange happened at the weekend. You know, I get my songs. Well, I'm not driving in my car for obvious reasons because no one's allowed to go anywhere. So I'm never in my car anymore. I'm hardly ever listening to the radio. But I did get in my car on Saturday to go and do shopping for mum, and 3 songs came on the radio. And I think these 3 songs together have got a message. I don't want you to freak out when I tell you what the songs are, okay? Because it's not end of the world or anything like that. But there is a message in here, again, about trying to get the balance right. Thank you, Jennifer. Right, the 3 songs were, the first one was Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. Do you know that song? Now, I'll come back and I'll tell you what I think it means. Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire, was the first song that came on. The next song that came on was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. And that seems to be a song that links to Metatron because I talk about the bridge. And it seems to be about shelter. The symbology of that song for me and Metatron is about when things are tough and difficult out there, shelter underneath the bridge with the angels, they'll keep you safe. So we've got We Didn't Start the Fire, then we've got Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge, and then the third song that came on was Atomic by Blondie. And I'm like, whoa, that means something. These 3 songs, one after the other, the only time I'm in my car listening to music the whole week, these 3 songs mean something. So I tuned into it. There's a few things. I think the danger has passed, to be perfectly honest. But I think a lot of us weren't aware that there were fires going on around Chernobyl. Did we know about that as a community? Within the last week or so, there have been wildfires burning around the site, the Chernobyl site. And what I then read is that Kiev, the city there, is the most polluted in the world at the moment. So it's almost as though we're seeing these other bright spots around the world suddenly being able, you know, the pollution lifting a little bit. And it's like, thank you that is happening. But yet Kiev, I don't know if we've got anybody from Kiev in the room, is still really struggling with pollution because of these fires that have been burning. They keep putting the fires out, and then I think they had been reigniting. But, you know, let's not be under any false pretenses. It's as though Chernobyl and what happened there in Russia, I think we're just getting, in terms of unity consciousness, it's to do with understanding that every single country on earth, whatever you think about their regime, whatever you think about their leader, and I'm making no judgment about Putin in that at all, by the way, or the Russian people, I'm just saying that whoever it is, wherever it is in the world, we need to be sending our prayers and our light to them. So we were able to, as a community, send our prayers out to Australia when the wildfires were burning. But yet I totally missed that was going on in Russia, you know, and, you know, if that had got closer to Chernobyl, then that would have been very, very problematic. So those that resonate with what I've just said, keep that area just on the radar in terms of needing some attention in terms of our light worker community, okay? Yeah, because Carrie, you're saying fire is about purification, so cleansing Chernobyl. I mean, that is true as well, isn't it? But equally, we wouldn't want it to get too near to them. go back to Billy Joel and this song, We Didn't Start the Fire. Thank you, Kitty. That song, he wrote that song when apparently, I don't know whether it was his children, it was basically somebody who was younger than him, and they were complaining about the state of the world, and you know that the world is in a terrible place and there's all these things happening the whole time. And this person said to Billy Joel, you know, it's all right for you, you were born in the 1950s, nothing happened then. And so Billy Joel wrote the song We Didn't Start the Fire, and it's a really clever song. Maybe when this is over, go and listen to it, because he documents every single thing that happened since 1949, which I think was the year he was born. All of the big events, and a lot of them were very shocking events, you know, difficult times that the world's gone through. And the point of the song was really to say every generation goes through difficulty. Every generation goes through challenge. Every generation also goes through the most amazing breakthroughs and beauty and communities coming together, you know, the good and the bad, basically. It's the duality, it's the energy of duality. But it's a really, really interesting song. But I think it's also about let's stop the blame game. You know, it's like we didn't start the fire. It's not necessarily my generation that started this. It's like the chicken and the egg. You know, where did all this start? And how far do you want to go back, you know, in terms of any one thing that you might be looking at around the world in terms of a problem? So those three songs came through. Right, let's move on, guys. I want to talk about the 15th of April, just briefly, because the 15th of April was the day that the Titanic sank. Okay, so this is about the video I did. By the way, 2,200 passengers died on the Titanic. I didn't realise that. So again, we've got that 22 energy multiplied, of course. 15th of April is one of those dates that there seem to have been a lot of things happen that I'm going to describe them as heart-opening events, but heart-opening events because of things that have happened that have been tragedies. One of you pointed out that, do you remember a year ago on my channel, we were talking about Notre Dame, the Notre Dame Cathedral bursting into flames and that great big fire that consumed it. Well, that was the 15th of April last year that happened. We could do a whole video on that, to be honest, but because the symbolism of what happened at Notre Dame and the letting go of old institutional church and the rising of the divine feminine and the new church which lies within us, and then a year later all the churches are locked. I mean, there's a bit of symbolism there, isn't there? But yeah, 15th of April Notre Dame, 15th of April Titanic, 15th of April in the UK we had a terrible thing, which was the Hillsborough disaster, which was something that's a deep scar on the memory of the UK. It was a football match basically where a lot of supporters were crushed against the fences. Those in the US, do you know what happened on the 15th of April? I didn't know this until I looked, to be honest. Anybody know? That's the day I found you. Someone said. I don't know whether that's true or not. If it is, that's great. No, in all seriousness, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated on the 15th of April. And the other thing that I found about the 15th of April is it was the liberation of Belsen. Okay, so all of these events, all very different, but it just seems to be a date that seems to link into this heart opening, you know, something very traumatic that brings great emotion to the surface. So why 15? So 15, 1 and 5 makes 6. 6 is the vibration of love, is the first thing to say. The heart, being able to connect us into the heart, being able to see something that happens in the collective and for it to affect us deeply, for us to then respond to that. We're back to emotions again and sometimes feeling overwhelmed. 15 though, in terms of the colour mirror system, which you know I used to teach, this is the bottle for 15. Mine's actually changed. It's usually just a olive green bottle, but this is the bottle which is linked into the magician, and it's also very much tied into the divine feminine energy. So I don't quite know where I'm going with this, but it just seems very strange to me that this 15th day seems to be something that is being flagged up by spirit for some reason. That red flare that I showed you in the Titanic video, that was on the 15th as well. Don't think I've got the photograph anymore, but anyway. Boston Marathon bombing, was that also on the 15th? Right, okay, I didn't realise that. Okay. Thank you, Monica. Right, I'm going to jump into something quite interesting now. William Stead. Which one of you was it that 6 months ago said to me I needed to look at this guy? I've never heard of him. And now it's like I can't get away from him. So I showed you this picture, didn't I? The eyes, remember? And I said to you that it was weird. I put his photograph up and I suddenly saw all these different people. I saw Einstein, I saw Darwin. I also saw another one, which I didn't actually mention on the video, which was Rasputin. Those were just three, but like big names, you know, these are big energies. And I went away and I thought about it. I thought, what is this with this guy? Was he also Darwin? Was he also Einstein? Was he also Rasputin? You know, is that even possible? And the answer came back, no, he wasn't. But this is what he said to me. Again, look at his eyes. Don't know if you can see that. So the eyes are the windows to the soul, aren't they? Okay, we know that we can see into somebody's soul when we really truly look deeply into their eyes. So when you look into a very highly evolved soul, which William Stead undoubtedly was, you are able to see into what he's calling, for want of a better word, it's like the soul group, the oversoul group, to which he belonged. So when I look into his eyes, I can also see in him fragments of the other energies that he is entwined with, enmeshed with. And it's the same, and he's saying it's true of anybody. You can look into anybody's eyes. And this ties into unity consciousness, that we are all actually one. We're all actually one. So you might be able to look into somebody's eyes and see William Shakespeare. You might be able to look into somebody else's eyes and see Darwin or whoever. But he's also saying, but the truth is, you can also, it's not just the good guys. Okay, this is the thing about oneness. It's as though you can look into somebody's eyes and you can see many different people, because there is a part of everybody within every single human being, is what he's saying. And I found that made a lot of sense to me. Made a lot of sense to me. I think there's a lot to that. The Rasputin energy with him is interesting, because this thing about when you truly look into somebody's eyes and you're able to see their soul, but then you're also able to see other people's soul fragments that they are linked with. That's quite mind-blowing, because what that means is all these other soul fragments and other soul energies, they're all different expressions of God, and they will reflect different aspects of God. And it won't always be the time that, you know, you or I were a hero. It can also be times when you and I weren't the hero. So with Rasputin, I don't know a great deal about Rasputin, but what William is saying to me is it was a lifetime. I'm still not quite sure what, I don't think he was Rasputin, but just hear me out. There's something about Rasputin with this guy. So whether it's a direct link with him, or whether I'm just feeling Rasputin via him, I'm not quite sure. But the whole thing with Rasputin is it's a lifetime where he was able to explore what I want to call the dark arts, is what he's describing it as, the dark arts. I'm sure there was a good side to Rasputin as well, but he dabbled in the dark arts. So I don't know. I'm not sure. In terms of Darwin, the bit that William Stead is drawing to me with Darwin is this quote. Let me just put their two pictures up. That is William Stead. This is the investigative journalist who I talked about in my Titanic video, okay, who died on Titanic. This is Darwin. I mean, I know they've both got beards, but I think it's a bit more than they've both got beards. It's like there's a soul, there's like an overlap in terms of their energies. Now, this is the quote that I'm being drawn to with Darwin. And this is to do with exactly where we are right now with this virus. Some of you might guess this quote. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. I'll repeat that. And this is Darwin. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that is the most adaptable to change. And I truly think these waves that we have coming across our planet, one of which is virus, but you know, there are other things that are bringing the awakening to us. We have to respond with adaptability as one of the key characteristics that we need to be developing within ourselves. And to be able to be adaptable means we need to get used to change. And most human beings, myself included, aren't very good at that. In fact, I'm not very good at it at all. I'm a Cancerian, so I'll cling on and I'll walk sideways like the crab does, rather than, you know, change course. But this is the time where we're being asked to learn about adaptability. And I think the message coming through is start small, you know, start with little things that you can change about your day-to-day life, things you do. But it's also so much bigger than that as well, because if we look at how we're being asked to respond to the virus in our midst, of course, I can completely understand people who are getting frustrated with being in lockdown and not wanting to maybe obey the rules. I have to be honest, my own daughter has probably been out far too long today and should be back now. Went to the beach and has been longer than just a walk down there. I'm being honest, you know. So I know it's difficult, but if that's what we're going to have to do from time to time, this undulating wave of going back out into society, then having to retreat a bit, then having to go back out, and I know how difficult that's going to be economically and for all sorts of institutions and reasons. But what Darwin says here is it's the people that are able to adapt to change who are the ones that actually thrive. I don't want to say survive, I want to say thrive in this new era. So that spoke volumes to me, this thing about adaptability. I think, and this is true of the spiritual community as well, isn't it? But it's also true of just wider society. We can all be very tunnel visioned in that, you know, this is what I understand, this is what I know, this is how I do things, this is who I am. And what Darwin's doing is he's saying, no, just sort of, no, there's actually other aspects that you have within you that are completely untapped in terms of potential, as well as probably, where's that card? Tomorrow. There's untapped, for want of a better word, DNA, okay, codes, DNA codes within the body that are coming online. I'm hearing they're coming online. They're increasingly coming online. It's like, how did I know that was going to happen? How did I know that was, etc., you know? Are you noticing, guys, that your intuitive abilities are getting a bit stronger? Whatever that means, you know, signs becoming a little bit more obvious. I think so, you know, it's just a case of keeping going with it. But oh, the other thing I've got to share with you, because this was like my jaw dropped when I saw this. We're still on William Stead right now. I have got a deck of cards here. I'll pull some more cards in a minute, and they're called Healing the Earth. They're a great deck. I really like this deck. You can get them on Etsy. Mandy Peterson is the creator of this deck. And I was just playing with this deck over the last week, and I kept getting a card over and over and over again, and it made no sense whatsoever to me. And it's this card. It's the card which says breathing room. Okay, you're saying that you are feeling more empathic, intuitive. Good. Okay. Yes, it's got to do with 5D. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So this card, the breathing room. Can you see that? It says freedom of movement, space, and ease. And then one of your comments on YouTube, you said to me, I'm just going to read this out. This is actually, it says, William Stead actually gave up his life jacket to someone else. This was as the Titanic was sinking. And he sat reading in the smoking room. I know this is called the breathing room, but hear me out. He sat reading in the smoking room as the Titanic went down. So here he is, okay, in a boat that's sinking. And what he chooses to do is go into what's called the smoking room. But he's showing me here, this is a breathing room. This space is an elevated space that is available to all of us. We're not on the Titanic, okay, but we are in situations in our life which can be difficult. And we can all sometimes respond to that with panic and stress and overwhelm. You were talking about feeling overwhelmed earlier. Well, what about instead going into this beautiful space here, which is a room, it's an energetic space. It's a dimensional space that's available to every single one of you, where you are given a chance to breathe. You're given a chance to, you have space, you're given a chance to breathe. At his most difficult hour, William's difficult hour, he was able to put himself in a space energetically where he went here. It wasn't just that he went into a physical room, he actually went into a dimensional space that wasn't on the earth, which gave him the peace and the calm and the love that he needed to get him through that darkest time. Now, we're not about to be on a boat that sinks or anything like that, but we are going through times at the moment which are very challenging. And I just find that I feel this is very helpful. I found it helpful for me anyway, just to know that there is a room available. It's like a celestial room that you can go to when you feel overwhelmed. It's a bit like the technique that they use in meditation, where you're invited to create a safe space, you know, that you go to, that you can feel calm and at peace. I always used to imagine a walled garden. Similar sort of idea, really. So the breathing room, I just, look how celestial that looks. I think it's beautiful. Last thing about William Stead, I'll look at your messages as well in a moment, but this was extraordinary to me. This is about timelines, because I think this guy was, you know, the word time traveller gets bounded around a lot, but I think this guy was a true time traveller. And let me just read this to you. So he's a editor, he's a journalist. So it's no surprise that he behaved so calmly, or was reported to have behaved calmly when the ship went down, because more than 26 years before the sinking of the Titanic, William Stead published an article titled "How the Steamship Sank in the Middle of the Atlantic Ocean by a Survivor." In this story that he wrote, he told the story of a steamship cruise with 916 passengers that hit another boat in the middle of the ocean. Given the fact that regulations at the time only assured lifeboats to be available for up to 390 people, the fictional collision ended in tragedy. His article finished with the sentence, "This is exactly what could happen and will happen if cruises depart without enough lifeboats." So in a way, he predicted what happened on Titanic. But here's the timeline thing that's just weird. What he also did in 1892, he was an editor of a magazine that got published 20 years before the launch of Titanic. He edited a fictional story about a cruise ship from White Star's company, which is the same company that owned the Titanic. And in this story, the boat hits an iceberg, but in the vision, the captain of the ship acts with caution, avoids the ice, and even rescues the survivors of the boat. So here's one man who's a journalist and a writer who basically has written two different timeline scenarios of what could have happened. Are you sort of with me? That's what I'm feeling he did. He was able to see there were two different timelines. One, it's not about blaming the captain, but you know, we've all seen the film, okay? They ignore the sense of cold that's coming towards the ship. They hit the iceberg, the rest is history. But in this other story that William Stead writes, the complete opposite happens, okay? And the captain actually is the one who is able to rescue the people, and they all live happily ever after. As soon as I read that, I just thought, wow, that guy, he knew what was going to happen, but also he knew there were two different timelines that could have happened with it. He manifested it. I don't think he manifested it. I mean, that's a really good question, Angela. And it's a difficult one to answer quickly, because it's a very valid question, because if you're given a piece of information in terms of, and it's like a predictive piece of information, something that could happen in the future, yeah, I mean, I do believe that you can then bring that in. So you have to be very responsible in terms of what you say and what you put out. But then in this scenario, he'd sort of balanced it, hadn't he? Because he'd written two different stories with two different endings. So in a way, he then had left it up to, I don't know, he'd left it up to, I don't even know what consciousness to decide. So a very, very interesting man. And I think, you know, and there's so many, I'm getting to the age in life where you suddenly realise you're not going to have the time to read every single book you want to read and research every single thing you want to research. But I would like to spend some time getting to know this guy a bit more, because even the quotes he's got are fascinating. Here's a couple. The duty of a journalist is the duty of a watchman. I'm going to talk about Julian Assange in a minute. It's in the power of every individual to do that which the community as a whole is powerless to effect. Let me repeat that. It is in the power of every individual to do that which the community as a whole is powerless to effect. That's effectively saying change starts with us. Stop waiting for the collective to do it. You are the collective, is really what he's saying. You are the one that creates what you want to see in the outer world. And we know that as a spiritual tribe, don't we? But here was a guy in the 1800s talking about this. He was into automatic writing. He was a spiritualist. And apparently he was very frowned upon in his day because of that. He wasn't taken seriously. I mean, come on, it's now 2020. Some of us still aren't taken seriously when we talk about galactics or angels or whatever. Well, it's getting better. So, interesting man. Anything else to say about him? I'd like to look at Julian Assange in a minute. Accountability. Oh, libraries as well. Yeah, he seems to be, again, like the whales, reminding us that they have the library of the planet within them. They are the record keepers. William Stead is also reminding us that we have the library within ourselves as well. All the answers are within us. You know, we sort of know this and then we forget and we go and seek it somewhere else. But the greatest library is within us. How are you all doing before I move on? Prophets are never honoured in their own land. Sandra Marie Roberts. Yeah, you're right. That's very true, isn't it? Every possibility has already happened. There is only now. We choose our now. Sorry, your name flashed up too quickly for me to say who said that. I completely agree. Amanda, put your hand on a book you want to read and say, I choose to download whatever honours me now. Kay Withers. Yeah, that's true, actually. That is so true. It's also true that you can put a book underneath your pillow and you will absorb the energy of the book. Okay, I really believe that. I completely believe that. Right, Julian, we're on to Julian. Right, so what's happening with Julian is he's still in Belmarsh prison. Belmarsh prison have released, I think, hundreds of people, but of course not him. There is coronavirus in Belmarsh prison. And on one hand, you can be like, oh my God, no, because I do think at one level, the powers that were would quite like, I won't even say it, you know what I'm trying to say. But the fact that he's in self-isolation, because he's still in isolation there, might help him. So let's pull some cards on him. I have no idea what's going to come up here. Julian Assange absolutely would have been one of the journalists that William Stead would have been honouring, or does honour today, as somebody who, well, he's incarcerated in prison. In fact, apparently William Stead went to prison as well for, I think, 3 months, linked into trying to raise the age of consent with children. Something about that. He did some time in prison, basically, for his beliefs. He stood up for his beliefs. So William Assange, I haven't looked at William Assange. Interesting, I said William Assange. Julian Assange, right, how are you doing? He's got 2 children, hasn't he? That's a nice story that's come out within the last couple of months since I looked at him. Apparently he fathered 2 children when he was in the Ecuadorian embassy. There's a fiance who, I don't know her name, maybe one of you can tell me what her name is, but he's got a lady that really loves him and has stood by him, and 2 beautiful looking children. And one of them in particular, I saw a picture of, and oh my God, that child is galactic. I mean, Julian's galactic, but this child is like, whoa, his light was just shining off the page. So it's like the apple has not fallen far from the tree with his children. I don't know if he's got any other children or whether these are just the 2 new ones. Right, let's pull some cards for Julian. Which deck shall I use? I think I'm going to use this deck. I'm going to use this Keepers of the Earth deck again. Let's check it's the right deck. Is this the right deck? Yeah. Okay. Julian Assange. I'm just going to use the Ashtar spray for this. Commander Ashtar. Try and tune in to what's going on with Julian Assange. So he has not been extradited to the USA yet. I did say months ago that I felt that the virus would prevent him from getting on a plane because the planes wouldn't be flying, and that has proven to be true. But yet they probably still want him back there. Let's have a look. Julian Assange, what am I picking up? Do say what you're picking up as well, guys, as well. I'll read them in a minute. Julian Assange. So, I'm being shown the most amazing oak tree. So I don't know what oak stands for, but the oak, it's a huge, huge oak tree. And I'm now being shown the tree when this isn't Julian being cut down. The oak tree seems to be a symbol of great strength. And I'm almost wanting to say majesty, you know, it's like this is Julian Assange is like a force to be reckoned with. And the branches of this oak tree, it's like Julian is the oak tree. It's like the branches of the oak tree just are reaching further and wider. And there's all these new branches forming on the tree, okay? And there's more people being drawn to the tree. So if Julian's the tree, there's more people being drawn to the tree, encircling the tree, trying to protect it, but also being very attracted to the energy of the tree itself because it's good. But I'm also being shown, you know, when you cut a tree down and you're able to see the life of the tree, in the wood, the circles. The tree that he's had so many different lifetimes in so many different places, but he does have an energy that's very embedded here on Earth. And I tell you what, this oak tree doesn't feel like it wants to go anywhere. So, I mean, I think in terms of his health and his life, I think a weaker man wouldn't have made it this far, to be perfectly honest. So I'm being shown him as this oak tree, this mighty oak. Right, let's have some cards. 4 cards for Julian Assange. What is the message that you have about Julian Assange? $11. Before I pull any more cards, you see 11, and on this deck, it says timelines, opportunity, timelines, and pay attention. I said to you last time I looked at him, there are different timelines with Julian, as there are with everybody. We've got to be really focused on the highest possible timeline for him. Okay, Jennifer Mizzotti, hi Jennifer. You're saying oak trees can live hundreds of years. Okay, well maybe I'm hoping then that this is a good sign that he's got durability in terms of his health and his life. Oak is king of the forest. Okay. The Tree of Souls in the Avatar movie. Julian's Oak. I saw the Tree of Souls from the film Avatar. Right, I need to go back and watch that film then. Can we do a prayer for Julian together? We will in a moment. Yeah, okay, so this is good. I'm liking that. 11. I also feel that might be linked into other people starting to now wake up to the injustice that he's had thrown at him. Feng Shui butterfly. This is a card of change and renewal. I think that's quite a positive card as well. It says change, renewal, and releasing obstructions. Okay, sorry. A bit cat-handed here in terms of trying to show you the cards. That's positive to me. Julian Assange. Feeling numb. He got that card last time when I read on him. This was the card he got last time. I mean, yeah, of course, he's feeling highly stressed. He's in a disassociated state and he's in complete shock still, and probably has been for months, if not years, because of the way he's been treated. Okay, so that's just saying he's still needing our prayers and our attention. But I do like the fact that on that card there, can you see the blue butterfly? The butterfly is free. The butterfly is free. I think he's the butterfly. Let's pull 3 and 8 make 11. So we've got 2 cards that link into the 11 energy. That feels like Metatron's really with this guy. Okay, one more card, please. Julian Assange. Julian Assange. Oh, God. That one. Bird's eye view. Got that one on the bottom of the pack as well. Right. Seeing the big picture, a higher perspective. Well, yeah, he could see the big picture. He could see the higher perspective. That's why they've tried to silence him. Oh, card number 4. Card number 44 on the bottom of the pack. No place like home. Then the comforts of home, family, leisure. Let's hope that. Let's hope we can bring in a timeline for him where he can be at home with those 2 beautiful children, this new lady or the lady in his life, and he can recover from this. There's nothing here that I'm too worried about. I am going to pull a tarot card as well, though. Let's just go to the tarot card. And I'll go to the Healing Light Tarot, which is my deck that I use for subjects that are particularly difficult or dark, to be honest, because, you know, there is a lot of darkness around him or being projected at him. So let's just see. Show me. I just want to say, is he okay? Is he okay? Julian Assange. I know he's not okay, but, you know, let's just see what the cards want to say. The Knight of Swords. He's still the Knight of Swords, so he's still that truth bringer. He is basically the king of the forest. That's why we're shown the oak. But he feels a little bit more like the knight at the moment because he's obviously tired, stressed, disassociated. and he needs to be back home. He needs to be back home. It's just, where is his home? Would he go back to Australia? I'm not feeling that. Do you know, I've felt before, and I don't think I said this on the last Julian Assange video, I feel as though he might stay in the UK. UK might be his home, but I know the UK has treated him appallingly, really, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Ireland? Is Ireland a possibility? Don't know where this lady lives. Anybody know where the lady lives? Who is the woman he's got? Is she English? I'm feeling there's a British thing here. God is always in control. Yeah, it's the truth. He will be free soon, in October, I feel. Joe Jean, yeah. Okay, let's just say a little prayer for him. I will just pull a card on extradition to America. I've lost track, guys, in terms of whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing, is it? I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think we want that. But it's like, what do we want? Where is he safe? Where is this guy safe? Where is his home? That's why I was almost thinking Ireland. It feels like somewhere, ideally, highest timeline, it's rural. Maybe it's Sweden again, I don't know. The world. The card of the world. You see, I wasn't actually thinking what I was doing when I was doing that, so I'm not sure what that actually means. The world. Oh, no, I love it. Look at that. I was just saying that Julian is the oak tree. Well, okay, it's not an oak tree, but it is a tree. There's somebody standing on top of the tree, and they are in the middle of a Vesica Pisces. Vesica Pisces is the symbol of male and female, and he's standing in the middle of it. That's the part which is to do with creation of the new. So I'll tell you what, if he's standing on top of that tree, he feels pretty untouchable. I don't know where he ends up, but he's not doing too badly. Let's do a little prayer for him. Could William Stead and Julian Assange be the same person? I do think that William Stead has reincarnated and is back. And I was thinking that the other day when I was having a walk, and I was thinking, who would he be now? See if I can get it. I'm not making any promises here. There was a journalist that I saw in my mind's eye, but he's quite a controversial journalist, and I'm not sure I'm right. Let me just see. William Stead, are you back? Are you incarnated here on Earth right now? I'm feeling he is. I don't know whether he's a famous journalist now. I'm not feeling Julian Assange. I am being shown somebody in America. Now, the thing about William Stead as well is that when he died on Titanic, he was on his way to a peace conference in New York, Carnegie Hall in New York. He was going there to speak at a peace conference, and it was just before the Great War broke out a few years later. He was heavily involved in the peace movement. Now, I don't know, I'm feeling as though there's a journalist in America, and it's very specific. It feels like it's the New York area. That might be him. Any ideas, guys, in New York, who that could be? I think it's male. I think he's male. Is that Kumu guy? Sorry, I know my pronunciation's wrong. The brother. Is he a journalist? I don't know if I'm right there, but is somebody? No, it's not Kumu. It's not Kumu. No, it's not Kumu. Is this guy well known? I don't think it's anybody that's well known. I think he is back. Yeah, I think he's back. And it's like he couldn't make it to New York last time, but he's there this time. And the whole the symbol of the Titanic going down, you see there were a lot of people who were regarded as the elite of their day on the Titanic. It was the richest of the rich who were on that ship that went down. And am I right in saying that a few years later, this is my memory of Titanic film now, the bubble burst, didn't it? The economic bubble burst, and a lot of people lost their money. A lot of those people lost their money. So it was like a correction. It was like a correction. But I'm being shown that the people at the very top, the people who had too much to start with. So, you know, you could roll that forward now to 2020 and say, well, of course, there is an elite that rule this planet who have too much, and there are people that have nothing, and there needs to be a correction. So it feels as though William Stead seems to be in America. He's not called William Stead now, of course, whoever he is, he's in America, and he's there as a witness. I'm feeling like he's there as a witness to what to the correction that will take place. But this isn't just to do with America. This is to do with the whole world. It's to do with financial balance is the word I keep being given. Okay, so balance has to be achieved for us to really be able to step forward into new earth at every level, in terms of our finances, our industry, the way we care for the earth, our spiritual, everything. It's all to do with balance. So, of course, the financial institutions are going to come into that as well. It has to be balance. So, oh, Ronan Farrow, someone's just said. Well, I don't know whether Ronan Farrow, but Ronan Farrow really intrigues me because he's a galactic as well. He has got a link with Julian Assange, hasn't he, Ronan Farrow? And his eyes, it's all there in the eyes again. Julian Assange, Ronan Farrow and William Stead. Yeah, there is definitely a link. I haven't got a picture of Ronan Farrow to hand, but this guy here looks like he's got icy blue, what I want to call icy blue eyes. It's like, I mean, I've got blue eyes, but my eyes aren't like that. This is just like another level of blue. It's almost like I'm being shown a glacier, you know, like a glacier. Icy blue, and Ronan Farrow has got the same eyes, so definitely there's a soul group link with him. So I don't know. The point is that the whole thing with William Stead's energy is that I think he was somebody who was very intrigued by sort of investigating. Of course, that's what he was. So he's almost giving us a bit like all these pieces of the jigsaw and wanting us to put it together ourselves. So it just seems to be what makes him tick. Yeah, because I've written down here, I keep going back to William Stead. I've said he's firing a warning shot to us now. Thank you, Selena. Thank you to the people who are donating. Sorry, I'm not keeping my eyes on the chat the whole time. Appreciate you all. He's firing a warning shot to us now. But I don't want anybody to go into fear on that. I don't think it's anything to be fearful of. I think we already know this stuff. We already know that the earth is changing. We already know that things are needing to be cleared out. I think what we have to do as light workers is be very much there for the people that haven't got a clue, you know. I didn't say a prayer for Julian. Should we just do that for a moment, please? Hold on, let's just do a prayer for Julian. So let's just link into Julian's energy. And I'm just going to try and tune into him in Belmarsh right now. He's asleep. He's asleep. I feel like he spends a lot of his time asleep. And it's his way of being able to cope and shut out the world. It's a bit like a baby. That's what babies do. They sleep. But equally what babies do when they sleep is they are evolving and they are receiving downloads. They are there's a lot that's happening inside a baby's body when it's asleep. It's actually, you know, things are happening in the brain. You know, the body is regenerating itself. So seems to be something to do with when he's asleep. It's not just sleep. It's like a regenerative sleep. And he has a galactic warrior standing there in the cell with him. And I don't think it's Ashtar, but it feels like it's one of Ashtar's warriors. It feels like a warrior, galactic warrior. And this galactic warrior is like ice. It's the color is again, it's that icy blue energy, and he's got this. It's not a spear. It's not a staff. It's something that galactics hold. What do galactics hold? It's not a staff. It's not a wand. It's like a saber. I want to say it's like a saber. That's what it feels like. Yeah, he's astral traveling as well. When he's asleep, Julian is astral traveling. And he's receiving sustenance and nourishment from his galactic family. He's also very aware of those of us who are earthbound who are helping him as well, including his mother, very strongly feeling mother energy and nourishment from her. You see what Ashtar showed me. Sorry, I will get to Julian's prayer in a minute. What Julian showed me. Maybe it is what Julian showed me. It's like the Ashtar energy, though, is that we know we all have an umbilical cord that links us to our mother. Okay, even when it's cut, you know, you've still got the memory of it. It's still energetically there. And what I'm being shown is there is a galactic umbilical cord, for want of a better word, that links us to our galactic soul family. And we also have a cord that links us into Earth as well, Mother Earth. But his cord to the galactic line, I'm seeing it's like it's pulsing with energy. It goes one way, it's like, oh, okay, it's like he's a radio receiver. It's almost like he's transmitting back to base command, whatever you call it. He's transmitting information to them, and they're then transmitting information back to him. It's like he's in constant communication with them. Now, I'm not saying he's actually aware of this. This is energetic, okay? It's really important you understand that. But it's a bit like I've always shared with you that I know I astral travel a lot in my sleep. And I'm doing all sorts. I am not aware that I'm doing it at a, you know, material worldly level. I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I've been here, I've done that, I've visited this person, but I do know I have. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say Julian is in constant communication and he's astral traveling. He doesn't necessarily know it, but it is happening. Okay, so just a quick prayer to Julian. I just want to say God be with you. It's like a really simple prayer. It's just like God be with you. God be with you. God be with you, Julian. Feels a bit Star Trek-y. Did they used to say that? Something like God be with you? Right, guys, look, it's 20 to 6. I'm going to go on for about another 20 minutes, and then I better go and get some dinner. Questions? I had got a few observations on Leonard Nimoy as well. Oh, Francis, you were in my dreams last night after my attunement to level 1. Oh, well done. Thank you, Francis. Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would have been. She's just done the level 1 attunement with me. Someone says, I'm feeling Moses energy with William Stead. Yes. Are you getting what I'm saying, though, about being able to look into somebody's eyes who is highly evolved? They have to be a very highly involved, enlightened being to be able to see the other soul energies that are also present. And that's because a very highly evolved, enlightened person understands that there is just unity consciousness, that we're all part of each other. So if you look into somebody's eyes who's very, very 3D, you're just going to see, you know, Tom staring back at you, or, you know, Sharon staring back at you. You're not necessarily going to see as much as if you look into somebody's eyes who is very highly evolved. Someone who's very highly involved and who really truly understands unity consciousness and that we are all one, then of course they understand that there are aspects of everything within every single person, because we all hold that God template within ourselves. What does Archangel Metatron want us to do during St. George's Day? Wow, okay. Good question. I'm not sure. If I'm honest with you, I might have to come back to that one. Maybe I'll answer that tomorrow on my Facebook page. I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow, by the way, for people in Australia and New Zealand, because the timing isn't very good for people in those parts of the world. If anybody is in Australia or New Zealand, then it's probably very late in the early morning now. So I'm going to do a video for you tomorrow. The Green Man. Somebody's mentioned the Green Man. Yeah, this painting attracts a lot of discussion, and most people seem to be like, oh my God, he's really spooky. No, he's not spooky. He's the Green Man. He represents nature. He's beautiful. He represents the trees and the wisdom of all that. I love the Green Man. Bill Gates. I am going to look at Bill Gates. I'm not going to do it today. I actually am not sure about Bill Gates. I know, please don't go on about everything in terms of what people are saying he does or doesn't do, because I don't know, okay? And I just think online we have to be very careful when we are accusing people of things, and we're not judge and jury, is what I'm hearing Metatron say. We are not judge and jury. God is judge and jury. But having said that, I am interested myself to see what I will get with him, because he is a controversial figure, but I'm not doing that today. I am just going to say a few things about Leonard Nimoy. How ahead of its time was Star Trek, for goodness sake. I mean, the more I look back at some of the catchphrases that series had, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Yeah, you know, our version of life, our version of intelligence, our version of consciousness is all tied up with this meat suit, for want of a better word, which is not usually a word I would use. It's not my language, so I don't know where the hell that's come from. But, you know, it is. It's sort of, there's so much out there. There's so much out there in terms of what we need to be allowing in. Beam me up, Scotty. I wanted to talk about Beam me up, Scotty. Thank you, Sparkles. Beam me up, Scotty. Right, we all know it, don't we? They stood on the spot, beam me up, Scotty, and they ended up in a different place. Can we see that actually what they were showing us is how easy it is to basically be able to travel to another dimensional reality? That's what they were showing us. That's the seed that they were sowing when they were doing that. Beam me up, Scotty. You know, we can all be sitting here like we are right now, and if we choose to, especially when we have our Merkaba around us, we can ask to be taken to any dimensional reality that we wish to be taken to. Today, by the way, is a very powerful day to actually receive downloads. I was tired this morning, and because I knew I was coming on this afternoon, I actually went and had a sleep for an hour. And I asked Metatron, I said, just download whatever it is that I need to receive today. And it was like, whoosh, it came in. So it works both ways. Shall I just bring down a stream of light for us all? Let's just do that. Right, this is the upgrade and expansion spray. Okay, let's just have a moment just to allow the download energy in. And this is really sort of a precursor to what's coming in tomorrow on the 23rd with that new moon in Taurus. Let's just take 3 deep breaths. And I want you to be imagining that silver cord to Mother Earth. And there is a platinum cord going up to, I want to say, the galactic energy today. And we're just going to pull down the right vibration for us into our body. And I just want you to see it as like this beautiful sparkly light that just starts to flow down from above, flowing down into all the chakras of the body. Platinum sparkly light, flowing down over the crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, root, down into the earth. It's like this beautiful, huge platinum bubble of light. And within that platinum bubble of light that is now around you are musical codes, musical notes, codes, sacred geometry, tones, vibrations that are unique to you, and you're going to be within that now for the next 24 hours. And when you go to sleep tonight, just remember that you've got this platinum bubble around you. It goes all around you from your top to your bottom, back to front, side to side, down to earth, and go to sleep in that platinum bubble and ask to receive what you need to receive, and for upgrade to happen. So be it, and it is so. That feels beautifully refreshing. Okay, you've all gone quiet on me. Well, there's 2,400 of us in the room. I'm just so honoured, guys. I'm so honoured that you're all here. Melina Bianca, mountains of blue ice are appearing in Lake Michigan on the Great Lakes. I keep feeling the blue ice is somehow connected with the icy blue colour you mentioned. Is that right? Mountains of blue ice. Somebody said I say Michigan in a funny way. Do I? Good old British accent. Okay. Yeah, you see the Spock, Leonard Nimoy, he was half, Spock was half Vulcan, wasn't he? He was half galactic and half human. And I think the message is we need to remember that we're not just human, we are galactic and angelic too, as I've said before. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple of last cards for us. Michigan. Oh, I should say it with an S, an S? I should say it with an S. Mitch. So it's not Mitch, it's Mish. Okay, right. What am I doing, guys? I'm just going to pull a couple of cards to end on, and then I better go and get some dinner. And you probably need to be going and doing your stuff as well. It's been fun though, hey? I think we'll do this once a month. I think I'll drop in once a month. What is the spiritual significance of white noise? I keep hearing references to this term lately. White noise. Isn't white noise linked into the creation energy? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting a bit tired now, so I'll answer that another time. I'll make a note of that. Michigan. Okay. Right. Let's just see what we're going to do. Final. Yeah, let's go back to Earth. I've got my other Earth deck here. This is Stephen Farmer. Let's pull a final card from here. Oh, last night, because I saw that some people were already talking in the chat room before, you know, we'd started, there was a few questions coming in, and somebody mentioned Kim Jong-un and North Korea. He's had a heart scare, he's had a heart operation, and there want, you know, there's real worries about, well, you know, is he still here? Is he still here? And if he isn't still here, it might well be that his sister, I think it's a sister, takes over. I'm wondering whether he's not here, to be honest. And that sister, you know me, I'm an optimist by nature, but I wasn't really feeling the vibe from her either. So I'm just going to pull a card for Kim Jong-un, as you do. Kim Jong-un, let's be serious for a minute. Kim Jong-un. What I was told by Metatron when I was thinking about Kim Jong-un earlier is I feel as though, I do feel he may, well, now let me just say what I was shown. I was shown a load of dominoes falling, and it's like each domino fell with a big thud, 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 thud. And it feels as though it's linked into certain leaders who are past the time that they should be in power. And it feels as though there's a few big giants that may very well be relinquishing power. I'm going to put it in that way, okay? Relinquishing power. So let's have a look at him. Kim Jong-un. What can I say, Metatron? Just one card, please. Oh. That's 4 cards that have fallen out. The King of Cups. I don't think he's the King of Cups. The Empress. The 7 of Cups. And the Knight of Wands. What's on the bottom of the deck? Oh, God. Okay. That is on the bottom of the deck. There's a lot of change going to be coming into North Korea. Knight of Wands, a lot of change coming in, but it's very, very confusing what the change might bring there. Again, highest timeline, please, for North Korea. We've got the Empress there. I was shown that this sister, if she's the one that were to take power, there is a window of opportunity, is what I was shown, whereby she can be energetically molded. That's not quite the right word. Energetically persuaded, energetically tempted to do the right thing, rather than take control and carry on the way that her brother used to do things. It's as though, again, 2 very distinct timelines. If she comes into power, one is that she can be the Empress and make some great changes, but the other one is that she just sort of carries on the way that he used to do things because she doesn't know any better. And that's why we've got the 7 of Cups there. So I think there might be some news coming out of North Korea, and we need to just hold the light there. So I don't want to say any more about that. Jacinda Ardern. Yeah, I'll talk about Jacinda Ardern tomorrow when I do the New Zealand and Australia video. Definitely. Right, last card, and then I better go, guys, and let you go as well. Thank you so much for being here. Let's have a final card, please, Sandalphon. Ancestors. Okay, we've got the Ancestors card. On Earth Day, maybe it's important just to spend some time thinking about the ancestors that have walked this earth before us, all the people that have led to the point that we're at now. And rather than just thinking of maybe actions of those in the past that have helped to destroy the earth or pollute the earth, let's also remember all the amazing ancestors who were able to create beautiful, great inventions which help us, that give us technologies that can improve our life. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but I was watching a TV program yesterday, and it's one of these programs where you go into a factory and you look at how things are produced, and it was showing pea production, okay, pea production, And there was this amazing piece of machinery which basically goes and harvests the peas from the field, and they have to basically get into a frozen state within about, I don't know, 2 hours, or they're ruined or something ridiculous. But this piece of machinery, which has just been created by a human being, an ancestor, and then I'm being drawn back to the days where people, you know, were just with heavily toiling in the earth, and they still do in many parts of the world. I'm being taken to different parts of the world where they still have to do that, and they're down on their knees in the earth trying to harvest the crop to feed their family or feed their community. But yet in many parts of the world, how lucky we are that we can just go to the freezer, open up the freezer, and we've got peas, but we don't appreciate all the production values that have gone into all of that. So something about the ancestors and about evolution and revolution, and just respecting those that have trod this earth before us. And also, please remember that we will be remembered as ancestors by generations to come. And so let our actions be ones which are loving and kind to Mother Earth, and honour her and honour the animals upon her. I think that's it, guys. Someone says the birds. Yeah, shout out to the birds as well. I love the birds. Right, I am going to say goodbye, guys. We've been going for nearly 2 hours. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for being here and sharing time and space with me. I will go back and I'll read your comments, and I'll try and answer some of those in videos to come. Thank you to the lady that was moderating for me, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Somebody else did offer, but I couldn't see you before I came online. And then we had that little faux pas at the beginning where I don't know what went wrong there, but we got there, didn't we? We got there. So I hope you're going to have a lovely day today, or if it's the evening, a nice evening. It's now 6 o'clock here in the evening. So yeah, I'm going to have some food and I'm going to have a little walk. And I'm in deep appreciation to all of you. So thank you all very much, guys. Thank you to those who donated as well. Very sweet of you. And yeah, I will have some other videos up on my channel within the next couple of days. I'm going to do the Australia and New Zealand one. And yeah, a Heart Squad one is definitely in the offing as well. So Prince is definitely next in the queue, because he was sort of, I was meant to do him a few weeks ago and didn't. So namaste, everybody. Namaste. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.